Hey y'all, how's it going? It's Ray. Couldn't find a good video on YouTube, so I figured I'd make one for anyone who's interested in this product right here. It's the KeyLine battery isolator. It's a smart battery isolator. Couldn't find a good video as far as how people hooked it up and stuff. So let's get straight to it. It's my primary. It's a 2011 Chevy Silverado 1500 LT Z71. My bow tie. But anyways, that's my start battery. That's the battery that came stock, or not stock in my vehicle, but that's where it's positioned. I threw in an Optima yellow top over there for my start. And then over here, I just went to a nearby battery shop, bought a used battery that matched the same cranking amps as your start battery. So my start battery is at 800 cold cranking amps. So I came over here and I also bought the 800 cold cranking amps. So from what my research and what everyone's told me, that's all you needed. So what I did was, first on the back of your isolator, there's a little template. You got 2 screws on there that you bolt on immediately, and then the other 2 you bolt on when you're bolting the housing onto that mount. So you take your template, you make your 4 holes with your, I use a Sharpie, and you take your drill bit, and it gives you the correct size in your instructions if you bought the same model, same product. But so you drill your holes, and then you only put the 2 in. So I don't know if you can see it, but the 2 shiny screws right there, those are put in after. You only put these 2 in, and they only provide you with 2 small screws. So you put those in, the 2 small screws, you put them in those 2 positions, and then when you're ready later, you mount your housing. So what you do is your wire comes crimped or it comes rolled in a roll. It comes rolled in a roll. I see I got too much. They gave me a lot of extra. So it comes like this, and at the end, the way they ship it to you, both ends already have terminals on them for you to just, put in there like so. They come with these terminals on. But then when you cut your wire to the exact size you need for your bay, you're gonna have 2 exposed sides like so. So they provide you with the little terminals for the end of them. You crimp them on there, and the heat shrink. Just use a little lighter or something and get it to shrink on there. So what you do is take your wire. I started closest to my start battery, so I don't have a lot of voltage drop due to long wires. So one end is already crimped with the stuff, or already had this little crimping spot thing on it, and I just cut it to size to my isolator. So what the instructions tell you to do is you measure your wire to the center of your isolator. So you take your wire, you run it to the position where you want your isolator at, and you run it to the center of that, and then you cut your wire there, and then you strip some of the rubber off, and then you mount your other little attachment that they provide you, and you just screw it onto the inside of this. So this will be off in your hand. Just screw it on. You do the same vice versa for your other wire that you're gonna run to your positive on your auxiliary battery. So you run it, and yeah, you just connect the 2 on the 2 terminals on the inside. On the side, I don't know if you can see it, but it's kind of hard, where the wire inserts into the isolator itself. You're gonna have to take some pliers and just take that little notch out. It's pretty easy, just rip it off. So once you mounted those 2 on to the isolator, before you connect it to your battery, you connect it to the isolator, and then you mount your isolator with the 2 screws that you were able to see when I showed you earlier, that one and this one down here. You mount those onto the bracket. So now this is on there tight. Now you have 2 wires. You got your wire running to your auxiliary, and then you got your wire running to your primary, your positive wire, that is. So then after that, inside your auxiliary, you'll also have a ground wire just I took 80 grit sandpaper and just sanded down the paint to the bare metal, and then I mounted my ground wire like so. You are gonna have to crimp your wire to your little adapter piece there, but it's real easy, real easy. So that's pretty much it over here. Once you get this set up, you run your wire the way you want. I'm gonna go to the other side now. Climb up here. All right, so then, never mind this fuse, that's to my sound system. I'll tell you about that later. But so you got your wire running from your isolator. It's gonna run down, like I ran mine's down like so. Ran it in, and then you can't see it too good, but I'm trying to get a better angle. I put a fuse on it just to be safe. I went to my local auto shop, car stereo audio shop right here in my local, and I bought it for like 10 bucks with the fuse. 10 bucks. It's a 100 amp fuse that I bought, only because it's a 140 amp isolator. I mean, before anything, I prefer the fuse to go out before anything else. So I ran it. So my wire comes down the firewall from the isolator, comes down the firewall behind, runs under. I zip tied to this, ran it across, and then bam. So now we're on the driver's side of the vehicle. So I ran it, tapped it in. They give you 2 battery terminals. I advise you, before you put your battery in there, to put that on. It's kind of a pain in the ass to do while it was already in the bay. But you put these battery terminals on that are provided. Like I said, I just ran my wire, my red, my hot, my positive over here, mounted it down. You'll see 2, because one belongs to my sound system and the other is for the actual isolator itself. Actually, is the reason why I purchased and decided to go with this system and put it in. My sound system was currently draining too much power, so this will help. But anyways, to your negative, same thing. You got your negative wires, they provide it for you. All you got to do is really attach it to your body. So what I did was, you got this battery bracket right here is what I found, and what I did was took off this bolt, pulled this out. I had a wire brush that I had laying around that you can attach to your drill. So what I did was I ran it on top of this, being that that's where it was going to be making contact, and I took it down to the bare metal, and then I went under. I can't really see too great, but basically I went under here, and right where the metal was going to touch over here, I made sure I also hit that with the wire spindle thing to make sure I took it down to the bare metal, so I had a great contact, and that worked real good. So then after that, you got your negative connected, you got your positive connected, and before all this, I mean, I'm sure I skipped that step in the beginning, but you were supposed to remove your negative terminal on your main battery. So that was the very first step. So yeah, now you mounted your isolator, you ran your wire to your primary battery, your start battery. You ran your that's your hot, then you ran your hot over here to your auxiliary. You took your ground, your negative, your ground from your auxiliary, and you grounded it to your body. If you're smart, you'd go ahead and throw a little fuse in there. Better be safe than sorry. Like I said, $10 versus a couple grand for an electrical fix. I'll do that all day. And that's pretty much it. What you're supposed to do is before you go and you connect your negative back over here, you're supposed to actually test your auxiliary battery. You'll take your voltmeter, and the red goes with the positive, the black goes with the negative, right? And you test your voltage, and then you leave your positive terminal. You see what your reading is, then you leave the positive terminal on the positive, and then you take the negative probe and you'll put it anywhere else on the body, and the reading that you received from here is the same reading you're supposed to receive when you take the probe and put it on the body versus it being on the negative terminal. So it's supposed to be the exact same reading. If you got the exact same reading, then you did everything correct. Then what you can do is now you'll go and you'll connect your negative back up over here, make sure everything's good, and you'll start it. Let me find my keys. So we'll come on over here, and it's very faint, but you can see it there, the red light means you did everything correct. So I turned my truck on with my start battery, obviously, and then the voltage to my start battery is full. So it cuts it off from there. In a sense, the power will over now, and it starts charging my auxiliary battery that I'll have my off-road lights connected to, and I'll have my sound system connected to. So overall, I'm happy. Then what you do is, I'll show you how it works. Turn your vehicle off now, right? So let's say you pulled up to your campsite, bam, you turn your vehicle off. You have your music playing, you have your lights on, everything, right? So you see over here, your isolator is still on. Still running off of your start battery. Still getting that power, right? You gotta give it a while. It's roughly about 2 minutes, I'd say. Give it a couple seconds, 2 minutes. Use my shaky hands. Give it a little bit. Does work better if your lights are off or lights are on. I mean, it'll draw power a little faster, which will cause this to kick in. So have a good battery. Let's see. So once your start battery drops to a certain voltage, because right now it's still on my start battery, it's running all my power from my main battery still. And the primary. Just a minute. There it goes. If you actually heard it, there's a loud truck that went by. It actually clicked. You can hear it click over. So now it's no longer draining any power from my start battery. No longer is it taking power from there. Now it's draining the battery. So remember, I got music playing right now. We got lights on. We got everything that's still powered that's going. Now it's not draining my start battery. Now it's pulling the power out of my auxiliary battery. So now let's say party's over, little kickback out in BFE's over, everybody's drunk, ready to go home. Other people, they have their music playing all night, their trucks ain't starting, now they need to jump. But you got that isolator, so what happens is you turn your truck on. Let's say your battery did die. Let's backtrack. Let's say your battery did die a little while you're out there in BFE. This one's gonna die, not that one. So you jump in your truck and you're ready to start. You're ready to get out of there. That one's gonna turn on, and what's gonna happen is the isolator is gonna kick in again. It's gonna make sure that your start battery reaches its full capacity as far as its voltage. It's gonna make sure it's fully charged, and once that's fully charged, now it's gonna focus all its attention and power over to your auxiliary, which is a dead battery, or you still have juice in it, it's just low on voltage or power. Now it's gonna charge it. So that's basically what it is, man. Like I said, if you guys got questions or anything, feel free to just hit me up or something. Otherwise, that's really it. Once again, I did this on a 2011 Chevy Silverado 1500 LT Z71 5.3 V8. So that's what I did it on. Can be done.